Here's your wrestling news for May 30th, 2021. And your headlines for today include AEW fires announcer Willie Urbina after racist mockery of Hikaru Shida. WWE makes another surprising firing behind the scenes. WWE President Nick Khan buys ridiculously expensive West Coast home. Former WWE wrestler working as a cable technician to provide for his wife and their newborn daughter. Drew McIntyre adds fuel to the fire of recent WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling partnership talks. Christian allegedly had a bad reputation in WWE for his sense of humor. WWE legend says title plans changed after Ultimate Warrior's Backstage Tantrum. Wrestler claims WWE treated me like a circus bear, and more. We are starting with AEW, and Hikaru Shida's historic reign as women's champion was celebrated on this week's Dynamite, which also saw some highly unprofessional behavior from some in the company. Shortly before Shida's segment began, the Spanish announce team's microphones were left on, and their conversation could be heard during the commercial break on Fight TV. In it, Alex Abrahantes asked Willie Urbina to do a translation of Shida's promo, and Urbina proceeded to make a racist joke as he spoke gibberish in a stereotypical Japanese accent. This got a laugh out of Thunder Rosa, who jokingly said she'd have to throw her pen at Urbina if he didn't stop, whilst Dasha Currit, formerly Dasha Fuentes in WWE, said they were being mean. This kind of joke was completely unacceptable, and many fans noted how hard Shida has worked to learn English and cut promos in front of a global audience in her non-native language. We doubt Urbina found it so funny not long after, as AEW have fired the Spanish commentator, according to PW Insider. Urbina won't be doing commentary at tonight's show, as AEW wasted no time in distancing themselves from him and his comments. WWE news next, and although employees were recently told that no more firings are coming, we're still finding out new names that were released earlier this week. It's now been confirmed that Giancarlo Ditamo was part of the over 60 names fired this past Tuesday, and he'd worked in WWE since 2018 as part of their studios and digital development. Ditamo directed several popular documentaries, including the Live Forever special, but he'll now have to find work out of WWE, as he won't be a part of the new WWE media division overseen by Kevin Dunn. Nick Khan is also continuing to grow in influence behind the scenes in WWE, and the company president recently proved just how well he's doing. According to Dirt, Khan recently purchased a $6.7 million home in Pacific Palisades, California, complete with 5 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, a 40-foot pool, and a putting green. And this mansion will serve as the WWE president's second home. Now, before joining Vince McMahon's promotion, Jackson Ryker competed as Gunner in TNA before his release in 2015. It'd be 2 years before he'd join WWE, and speaking to Wrestling Inc. this week, Ryker discussed how he continued to earn money in those 2 years, saying, "I had to work for a cable company because I had just gotten married and just had a daughter, and I worked indie shows every weekend too. So I'm doing that, I'm acting, I'm working at a cable company, so I go from being a wrestler on TV to a cable guy in somebody's house. It's very humbling. I'm in a guy's house one time and he's just looking at me and I was like, oh my gosh." He says, "Hey man, you look familiar." I say, "Yeah man, maybe I had a twin somewhere." And he says, "You're Gunner off of TV, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I am. Now I'm doing your cable." Ryker's days of doing cable are over now that he's made it to WWE, and somewhere there's fans who can watch him each and every week on cable that Ryker himself put into place. Impact News now, and Josh Matthews is returning to the company's commentary desk. That's according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, who report that Matt Striker was unable to make the latest 4-day set of tapings, and Matthews replaced him, and with 2 months of footage filmed, fans will get to hear plenty of Josh for the next couple of months. Over to Raw, and tomorrow night's show will see Drew McIntyre in action, as he'll once again face off against Kofi Kingston. That match will determine who will next challenge WWE Champion Bobby Lashley, and on Twitter, McIntyre shared a photo of the match card alongside one from an Intercontinental title match they had all the way back at Over the Limit 2010. Whilst it was an interesting comparison, it was McIntyre's caption that got fans talking, as he said, On Monday, Kofi will accept his doom at my hands, and wrote his caption so that the first letter of each line spells Okada. A reference to New Japan star Kazuchika Okada, McIntyre has his eyes on the Japanese promotion amid talks of WWE and New Japan becoming exclusive partners, but whether an Okada-McIntyre match happens thanks to these talks is unclear at this time. We are sure that AEW doesn't want New Japan to become the exclusive partner of WWE, and the company put on a special Double or Nothing fan event ahead of tonight's pay-per-view. During the event, the Dark Order leader -1 was presented with a special Dark Order championship, much to the excitement of the crowd, and the stable themselves were there to celebrate with him. Brody Lee Jr. has an AEW job waiting for him when he's of age, as the company has been there for the Lee family since Brody Lee's death last December, and this was just another way they made things extra special for his son. More from AEW as Christian Cage has promised to outwork everyone after quietly being retired by WWE in 2014. A two-time former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Christian first joined the company in 1998, but the veteran wrestler didn't always have the locker room on his side. Speaking on the Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast, Dr. Tom Pritchard spoke about Christian's developmental career in WWE, saying that his dry sense of humor often rubbed others the wrong way. You can say something and be misperceived or misunderstood, it's not uncommon, so yeah, he would be perceived as a head sometimes, but who wouldn't? Christian is set to compete in tonight's Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing, and we'll have to see if he can earn himself a future shot at the AEW World Championship. Now, throughout his career, Ed Leslie had over a dozen gimmicks, but is perhaps best known as Brutus the Barber Beefcake. But what he isn't known for is being an Intercontinental Champion. Though Leslie never held singles gold in WWE, that nearly happened in 1988, as during an interview with Wrestling Inc. this week, Leslie said that there were plans for him to win the IC title at that year's SummerSlam until The Ultimate Warrior. He said, "Warrior made a big mess of things there, threw a tantrum, I don't know what happened. The plan was I was getting the belt, period. Then Warrior went blah 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 blah, so they had it changed at the pay-per-view, and then I did the thing with Ron Bass and tried to salvage it." Leslie was meant to be the challenger for the then champion, the Honky Tonk Man, who he said was really upset about the change, and instead it was the Warrior who flattened Honky to win the gold. Adding that the Warrior wasn't a very good wrestler, Leslie didn't have much praise for the WWE Hall of Famer, and when you consider that it was the Warrior who cost him a chance to become Intercontinental Champion, it's not hard to see why. Back to the present, and this year's WrestleMania saw an appearance by Bad Bunny, who amazed fans with his performance in the ring, which earned him some serious respect by some very important names. This week, the rapping star was on the Season 4 premiere of HBO's The Shop Interrupted and discussed his WWE tenure with co-hosts LeBron James and Maverick Carter, saying, "It's real. It's 100% real. It's insane. When I was learning the first day and they were teaching me how to fall, take bumps, I said, how can these people do this for 20 to 30 years? Guys like Undertaker, Triple H, and so many others, receiving that pain." This caught the attention of The Undertaker, who said on Twitter that Bunny did all the wrestlers proud at WrestleMania and is Deadman approved. As of now, Bunny is gearing up for his 2022 tour, but with praise like this, who knows when the former 24/7 champion will step back into the ring again. And we're ending with AEW as TNT champion Miro joined the company with a lot of hype last year after establishing himself as Rusev in the WWE. Getting himself naturally over, much to the chagrin of WWE's decision-makers, Rusev's last feud was a nonsensical love triangle between his real-life wife Lana and Bobby Lashley before his April 15, 2020 release. Speaking to the New York Post this week, Miro lamented the fact that he always agreed to what WWE asked of him, saying, "So if you give me something, I'll make the best of it, and that's the problem. I won't be happy until I'm the talk of the whole business, of course. But somewhere along the lines, and this is going to tie into it, I kept saying yes. I became this circus bear. I was a killer. I came in 2013 to 14 to NXT and killed everybody, and then they gave me a little bit of something else. I showed how good I was at that too. I became like a circus bear. The more I said yes, the more crap I have to eat." Miro is clearly a lot happier now in AEW, where he is the reigning TNT champion, but will face stiff competition tonight at Double or Nothing in Lance Archer. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.